Hello, welcome back to another 3D modeling video. In this video, we'll be covering our first project. You'll be learning about camera movement, object rotation, object translation. Most importantly though, you'll be learning how to think with shapes. When you're thinking about learning with shapes, think more like Minecraft or Legos. You're not thinking about building the whole thing at once, you're thinking about building with multiple parts. Well, with that said, let's get on to the project. Okay, so first off, let's open a new scene in 3D Builder. Now this is our working space. This is where we'll be making all of our projects, and this is where we'll be editing them. So there's three ways to move the camera around. The first is by left clicking, in which we rotate the camera around, right clicking, in which we pan it, and scrolling the middle mouse button in order to zoom in and out. So 3D Builder is based off of making shapes from other shapes. So we have objects like the cube, cylinder, pyramid, cone, and sphere, hexagon, wedge, torus, tetrahedron. However, for our first project, we're only going to be using cylinders and cubes. So what we want to make is a cup. And now to do that, we start off with this, a cylinder. But we also have a hollow shape, which is another cylinder. And we're going to be subtracting that from the initial shape. And then finally, we have our handle, which is going to be a rectangle with another rectangle subtracted from that. Okay, so what I've done here is I've put my reference image and I've split my two windows so I have access to my reference image all the time. So what I'm going to want to do first is go to Insert, I'm going to click Cylinder, and that's going to insert a cylinder, a single cylinder. So what I have here are these three arrows, and what they do is I can move them along whatever axis they're on. So we have like the x-axis, we have the y-axis, we also have the z-axis. So if I move it to a place I don't want to, I can just press Ctrl-Z and it will go back one step. Now next what I want to do is I want to scale my object a bit. So I think it's a bit small, so I'm going to take one of these corners and I'm going to scale the whole object. Now I could do the same thing like I did with my translation tool, but instead it would stretch along a single axis. Now I want to stretch it, but I want to stretch it along the z-axis, but just a bit so it's a bit taller. Next up, I want to Ctrl-C, that's going to copy my object, and Ctrl-V, that's going to paste my object. Next one I want to do is I'm going to intersect the two objects and move this one out a bit. I'm going to scale it down to mimic that inner shape that we want to subtract, and I'm going to elongate the object a bit. Next up, I want to go to View, X-ray, so I can see through my initial object, and I'm going to move it down just enough so it looks about right. Next, what I want to do is go to Edit, Subtract, and voila, I have my cup shape. Now, I mean, we could say we're done here, but I want to add the handle. So what do? I go to Insert, Cube. I'm going to turn off X-ray for now because we don't need that for now. I'm going to move my cube out, and I'm going to make it just about the same size as my drawing. So that's just about the same size, but what I want to do now is I want to align this piece. So how am I going to do that? All I need to do is just move it and it will snap to the center. Now there's two types of snaps. There's snap along an edge, in which it snaps and aligns it so it's perfectly aligned to the edge, or I can snap it to the center which is what I want here. Next up, I'm going to repeat the same process that I did with this cylinder, except I'm going to take this rectangular prism, copy, Control C, paste, Control V, and I'm going to scale this piece down just a bit. I'm also going to elongate it, and I'm going to intersect it. I want it perfectly aligned, so I'm just going to move it up a bit and it'll snap to the middle. Next up, I'm going to select the piece that I want to subtract, and well, it's already selected, but I just want to make sure. So I'm going to click edit and I'm going to subtract. And look at that, we have our handle piece. Now we just want to translate it back, like so, and we're good. So we can see right here that it's not really intersecting, and what the snapping tool is doing is it's kind of making it hard for me to actually move it in properly. So what I want to do is click these three bars, settings, and turn off snapping. So now I can move it wherever I want without having to worry about it snapping properly. So I'm just going to move it a bit, and bam, we have our cup. But right now it's still two pieces. We want a single cup. So what we're going to do now is we're going to select both pieces and we are going to merge. And like so, we have our full object. Now we also want to learn how to use the rotate tool, which is this tool. It's the same kind of principle as the other ones where there's three axes and we can move it however we want. And yeah, that's just about it. I hope that you liked the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and tune in for the next video. Bye-bye.